Welcome, lovely people. Today I am not on any particular console, but I wanted us to have a look at the latest blog, the first blog that has been given to us by DC. Now, I'm a little skeptical about the blogs, mostly because I am the kind of person who I do like extra content, but I like to play a game and garner all the information that I need to enjoy and know how to play that game from the game itself. I don't think people should have to go elsewhere to find out information or to work out how to play the game, or indeed be given the narrative so that the storyline that you're playing makes sense. I think that should all be self-contained in the game. As a gamer, I want to play that game and get all the information from it to understand what I'm doing. So if this is the kind of thing where I'm going to be given extra information that is interesting and kind of furthers the storyline for me, that's fine. But if this is going to give me the storyline so that I can understand what I'm playing, I'm not going to be happy with that. That being said, we're going to have a read through it together, see what we think. So it's called A Deadly New Mystery. Jim Gordon looked out over the city and winced. Effects from the recent alien invasion were still visible. Fresh scars and open wounds on a battered landscape. The skies were still filled with a red haze, thanks to a massive fire pit carved out of the earth by cruel parademons. First responders and relief forces were working around the clock to move things back toward normal. Well, normal for Gotham City, at least. And in midst all of the chaos and destruction, it looked like a serial killer was stalking the streets. A killer strong enough to take down super-powered prey. In cases like that, it was time to light the signal. "Sorry for the delay, Jim," said a voice from the shadows. "Darkseid's forces have been keeping me busy out there." Gordon smiled. That figures, he thought. When aren't those two 5 steps ahead of me? "Think it's one of the usual suspects?" the commissioner asked. "Maybe Killer Croc or Grundy?" "Not likely," said Batman. "The attacks don't match their MO, nor do the results. When Croc or Grundy kill someone, they leave a mess behind, and a corpse. That's not happening here." "Good point," Gordon replied. "Then we might have a new player on the board, and a tough one at that. I know several members of the League are in town to help with the Darkseid situation. Any chance you can call in some of them to help?" "Always an option, but I need to find out more about the killer first, and their power level," Batman said. "If we're dealing with a Superman-level threat, I'm not calling in Booster Gold." "Sensible," said Gordon. "I'll be sure to pass along anything the GCPD finds out about this. Montoya's been looking into it, now that she's not dealing with aliens trying to eat everyone in sight." A moment passed without a reply from the Dark Knight. Gordon turned to find himself the sole occupant of the rooftop. Some things never change, he thought, as he shut down the bat signal. Good luck, old friend. As Batman entered the penthouse apartment, a figure clad in black leather stepped out from the shadows to join him. "Cat," Batman said with a respectful nod. "Bat," Catwoman replied, smirking lightly. "What's on your mind? Deciding how big to make your ears on that cowl of yours? For what it's worth, I prefer the shorter look." "So do I." "Noted," said Batman. "Have you heard anything on the streets about the new serial killer?" "Nothing past what I'm certain you already know, and what's showing up in the media," Catwoman said. "Jack Ryder's blaming it all on Harley Quinn, which, yeah. Harley has trouble deciding what she wants for breakfast, let alone mustering the drive to pursue something like a serial killer." "Like serial killing. Get it right!" "Even the fringe rumors could hold clues on the case," Batman replied. "For example, Kite Man claimed he encountered the killer, but they told him he wasn't on their list." "Sure, but Kite Man? Come on, Bat," Catwoman said, amused. "Are you going to shake down the Condiment King next? Ask if the killer prefers aioli or mustard on their sandwich?" A grim frown in response caused Catwoman to shiver for a moment. Right. You're giving me the look, she said. Message received. Okay, there is one weird thing I've been hearing about. People have been talking about a blue light in the sky lately. I figured it was from Apocalypse riffraff, but it's still happening, and the aliens are gone now, right? Mostly, Batman said, still frowning. I'm not doing a good frowning face. A few stragglers here and there, but I have my people working on those. Then maybe you need to look into this mysterious blue light, Bat, Catwoman said with a smile, and hope it's not Kite Man trying out a new look. That green suit of his is a bit basic. Agreed. Green, blue, Batman said. You might be onto something, Selina. Thanks. Wait, are you serious? Catwoman replied, slightly astonished. Happy to help. A purr from a nearby cat caught her attention when she turned to continue the conversation. The Dark Knight was gone. Typical, she said, petting the purring cat. Until next time, Bat, and good hunting. To be continued. It's an interesting conversation. It does bring in the blue light that we saw. I don't know how many people are on X, but on X they posted like just a short video of a blue light shooting through the sky inside of apocalyptic Gotham. Interesting that it's in a location where an episode is. That's interesting to me. I will say the artwork is beautiful. It looks like they've pulled artwork from various comic books that I really like. So beautiful artwork choices. But yeah, to me, this seems like we're going down a narrative of Batman trying to find out who the serial killer is. And over the 4 parts that we're supposed to be getting for it, we eventually find out who that serial killer is and deal with them. But from the Live with Multi, which was this morning for me, but will be like yesterday for you guys, he seems to think it's got nothing to do with Batman and Catwoman. So I'm confused a little bit, because if this has something to do with the newest episode, right? This is supposed to be relevant to the new mystery coming out. Why would it end on kind of this note of Batman having spoken to both Gordon and Catwoman about the situation, and then he leaves to go and pursue this clue that we've been given? Are we maybe taking on that role of the person investigating? Like Batman is barely in it because he gives us the job? I don't know. But if I hadn't have spoken with Multi this morning, from just what's written here, my assumption would be that we are collaborating with Batman as, you know, the extra people from the League to help him find out who this serial killer is. But that may not be the case according to Multi. So I figure if someone's going to know better than me, it's going to be Multiverse. So I'm inclined to think that he probably knows better. But to me, this really does seem like we're going to follow a kind of Detective Batman story here. But apparently no. So I'm very much curious about this. At the very least, even if we're not following Batman as the main character on this narrative of trying to just flick my hair everywhere, on this narrative of trying to find out something about this serial killer and how it relates to the blue light. At the very least, it seems like we are going to be playing a narrative where we are trying to find out who a serial killer is and how it's linked to a blue light. Or perhaps the serial killer is the first step in finding information about the blue light, and the blue light is actually the thing that we're trying to find out what it is. I don't know. We do know it's like a mystery that we're trying to solve going on. My suspicion, although I could be mistaken, and I will say Multiverse tends to know these things better than me, so he doesn't agree with me on this. He thinks I'm wrong. But my suspicion is that these chapters have been called chapters instead of episodes for a reason. They are called chapters because they're going to be extremely different from an episode, which I think leaves them open to be able to make a lot of changes if they want to, and hopefully avoid a little bit of the backlash for not releasing the same quantity of content that we're used to. And I'm wondering if maybe this is going to be a smaller release of something, like maybe something we have to do in an open world plus a load-in. and then the next will be another load-in, next will be another load-in, you know, that continues the story on. And if they can do chapters that are smaller little releases, that's going to make it so, one, they don't have to create quite as much, and two, hopefully we as their audience don't notice how much of a decrease there could potentially be in the story being released. This is all my own speculation. I could be 100% mistaken, and when this releases, if I'm proved wrong, I will be very happy because I love this game, I want content to play, and I don't want things to disappear on me. I also think it's very interesting that they are putting this in apocalyptic Gotham, as far as I can tell. I mean, we've seen the blue light in the sky in apocalyptic Gotham, which is the most recent episode. So clearly they're not creating a new world for this, or maybe they are and that was just a tidbit they were putting in the episode everyone's playing currently. I don't know. But I'm a little nervous about this release, to be honest, because I don't know at all what to expect. The fact that they've renamed everything from episodes to chapters means it could be very different. I mean, if it was me, I would name it very different if I'm changing it so drastically that it's not going to match what we're used to. So that's what I feel like might happen. As far as the narrative goes, I am interested. This little tidbit of the blog that they've given us, I think is interesting. It's sucking me in. I'm not gonna lie. I want to know what's happening. I want to know what the blue light is. But that being said, if the episode comes out, if the chapter comes out, and I had to have read this to know what's happening in the game, that will bother me, because I prefer to get all of my information from the game. It actually is a really good indicator of where they've got holes in the game based on if you go into the game and you understand what you're supposed to do and know what the storyline is. If you don't, then there's a hole there. There's holes in games where things don't really appear very clear to you and you have to kind of work it out. There's also standard things that I think a lot of developers assume that people know. Like if you play MMOs, you know the basic way that an MMO works. I mean, if they're going to make it smaller bites of gameplay, there's also running the risk of the amount of updates they do is more likely to break the game, which is something Multiverse also pointed out, and I completely agree with him there. If they are going to do what I think they're doing, which is just my own speculation, I'm hoping I'm wrong. Honestly, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. But the only reason I could see that they would change episodes to chapters is because there's going to be a large change in them, and they don't want people to get an episode release and be disappointed because it's nothing like what we're used to. So I think that's smart to change the name of it, but I also am now nervous about what it's going to be. I'm hoping that the chapter doesn't release in apocalyptic Gotham, but it sounds like it will based on the beginning of this blog narrative. It seems like it's trying to continue on from the last episode, which honestly, I can appreciate that. They're trying to continue the story from where we are actually up to in the story of the game. But the stories haven't really correlated like this before. So, I don't know. I mean, it's talking about the parademons, it's talking about the state that Gotham is in, and I believe that's referring to apocalyptic Gotham. So, interesting. I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. And I'm excited, but also nervous. Let's hope it's okay. I will link the blog post below, so if you guys are interested in going and having a read, you can have a look at the artwork, which is really nice, but I will say they've pulled the artwork from pre-existing comic books, so, you know, if you've read them all, you will already have seen the artwork. But yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I guess we all just have to wait and see now. Have a good one, guys.